Hey everybody, I'm Dave with Growing the Home Garden. If you live in a rural area, you probably have deer somewhere around. And as every gardener knows, deer can cause a lot of problems when you are trying to grow your plants, whether it be your trees, your perennials. Deer get into a lot of it and can create some havoc. So today that's what we're talking about, and specifically we're talking about how to protect your small trees from deer, because there's two really big issues that deer cause when you have small trees around. So this little tree right here is a witch hazel, and witch hazel is one of my favorite plants for a lot of great reasons. In the wintertime it blooms, which you don't get many plants that bloom in the wintertime, and those blooms are fragrant, so it smells really great in the garden. Plus it also is a food source for the pollinators that like to come out on those nice warm winter days here in Tennessee. But if you notice the size of this little plant here, it is probably only about 2 feet tall total. If a deer were to come and chomp down on it, eat the leaves, this plant would be gone in a few seconds. It would not take the deer very long to take care of this particular one. The other problem that deer create is what you call rubbing. And in the fall, when a deer is trying to get the fuzz off of its antlers, it will go up to smaller sized trees and scuff up the sides of the trees in an attempt to rub off that fuzz. And what that actually does to the tree is it breaks through that cambium layer of bark and scuffs it all up. And sometimes if it girdles the whole plant going all the way around the circumference of the trunk, it can kill that plant, because that's where all the water flows from the root system all the way up through the bark. That is where the water goes to the top of the tree. And when that happens, the tree just cannot survive up above where that damage was done. So this is my solution for preventing the deer from eating my new little trees, or from damaging them if they're larger size trees. This is just a piece of garden fencing that we had around a vegetable garden at one time. The wire is coated wire, but they make other types where you don't have to use the coated wire. It will do just fine. It's got some nice air gaps for it, so it's not going to prevent the wind from going through, and allows moisture to flow around the plant. We cut the ends off here and then use them to wrap around and tie off to hook the end pieces together. So we leave about this much of it so we can use it to hook the end and just create a nice enclosure for the plant. We also use what's either called a U-post or a T-post. It just depends on which one you purchase, but they're both effective at holding it in place, and this will keep the cage from going anywhere, falling over, getting brushed by a deer and rolling away, but it'll keep it right here around the plant where we need it. Now here's another example. This is a river birch tree that was grown from seed, and it's doing quite well. It's had a rough year because we've had a lot of drought conditions here in Tennessee this year, but you can see I've done basically the same thing. This time I used 2 posts to wrap it around, and I do have a smaller piece of garden fencing. I was just using leftover stuff that I had around, but it's still going to do the same effect of keeping this plant contained and keeping the deer away from it. And this tree right here is a Yosino Cherry. It's a flowering cherry tree, one of my favorite spring bloomers, and I've done the exact same thing for it. The only difference here is I did not put a post on it. It's a taller, stronger tree, so I don't think this is really going to go anywhere off of it. I think it's going to be okay without the post, but if I do feel like it needs one, I'll come back and I'll stick one in here. Now they do make sprays that you can spray on things to help prevent the deer from eating them, but that only works when they are reapplied regularly after rain. So if you have frequent rainfalls, it's not going to be as effective. This is a physical barrier which will prevent the deer from going through it and to it, and they will go to other options that they have around instead of the prized plants that you have. So this is probably one of the easiest ways and cost-effective ways to protect your newly planted trees. Just put this around. You don't have to keep this there forever. When your trees get enough diameter that they're not going to be bothered by the rubbing, it's pretty safe to take this away. But that may be a couple years of protection that you need to provide for them. So anyway, I'm Dave with Growing the Home Garden. I really appreciate you watching this video. If it was helpful, hit the like button and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time on Growing the Home Garden. Thanks for watching.